Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. I don't know where Charlamagne is. He should be checking in a minute. I know he was on a flight. We got a special guest in the building or online.
Hey.
We got Kevin Hart. What's
Yes,
up,
sir. How are you, man?
How's everything with you?
Oh, brother, I can't complain. Same old, same old. Drinking milk, getting tall, making it do what it do. And whatever it did, it doesn't. So that means that I'm going to get it done. Did that make sense?
So
Now, where are you right now?
wait, hold
Where
on. So
are
you don't have a lactose intolerance?
Right now, I do not have a lactose intolerance. My stomach is definitely not right, though. I've been meal prepping. So, I'm on this this green and like protein. So I'm definitely running back and forth a little bit. I'm in Budapest, though.
Okay.
I'm in Budapest
In
right now.
Budapest.
Yeah.
What are you filming out there?
I'm filming a movie called Borderlands, a movie for Lionsgate based off of a video game, a very successful video game that has Borderlands 1, 2, 3. I mean, they got about between 50 to 80 million users that actively play this game, and they decided to create a movie out of it. So it's myself, Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jack Black. We are the leads of the movie. Ariana, Flo. I mean, we got a great cast, directed by Eli Roth. It's good. It's exciting. Something else that I can throw my audience on a loop with. It's a different.
Explain Budapest for people that don't know. How is Budapest? If you had to describe it, because I've never been there. So, like, what is Budapest like?
Budapest is in Hungary, and it's two separate places. So you have Buda and Pest. It's actually separated. So you have Buda,
Really?
and then on the other side is Pest. But the scenery out here, the architecture out here, the history is unreal. So the locations that you find to film in are just like nothing you'll ever see. One location, we're in a cave that's probably about we're like 5 to 6 stories underground, and there's like a lake that runs underground in this cave, and the cave was there for years. So the things that have probably happened in that cave, Lord knows. We're in canyons, we're on hillside mountains overlooking the sky in ways that it looks fake. So it's a movie that's kind of got a sci-fi twist to it. So these locations play a very significant part.
Is that the movie you were training with Navy SEALs for?
Yeah, I am responsible for all action in this movie. I am playing the character called Roland, and Roland is a soldier. So the director wanted to throw the audience for the loop. He wanted to cast me, and in casting me, we agreed that I would take this serious and go a completely different route. So I trained with some Navy SEALs. I did some high intensity weapons training, and really got down with military. So in this, I really am the role of a soldier. I'm combat, hand-to-hand weapons, etc. So I can't wait, for people to see it, because it's going to have a major shock value attached to it, and that's what we wanted with the part.
That's really exciting. I just want to say that is very exciting, though, to be able to have those abilities now.
Yeah, I'll fuck somebody up. I know some stuff. Fatherhood.
Let's talk about fatherhood. Well, first of all,
Yes.
I know you're missing your kids. If you're in Budapest, when's the last time you see the babies, the kids?
But they're out here with me. I had them come out here
Oh.
with me, man. Yes, one school.
Kevin's got, I don't know if you noticed, but Kevin has a lot of money, and he can, bring family.
Once school stopped, I had the family come out. When you have the opportunity to film in these type of places, I think it's important to try to give your kids experiences that they can hold on to. So my kids love working on sets when I'm on sets. My daughter's interning for me right now. My son, he's in love with the world of action and stunt development and choreography. So I had my son come out, work with the stunt team a little bit, just in learning and understanding and just watching what I do. So it's one thing just to see the star that's attached to the dad. It's another to really understand the work that goes into it. So I've worked very hard on just making sure my kids understand how movies are made, how they break down, and how significant the roles are that the entire crew and cast play. In this case, they get to see it firsthand. But it's a great time. This movie Fatherhood is one that's very near and dear to my heart. It's a true story based off of this guy named Matt Loughlin, and a crazy turn of events that he had in life. He was married. Him and his wife were at the happiest point of their lives. She was about to deliver a baby. After delivering the baby, his wife passed away on the delivery table, and it sent him in a crazy whirlwind where he didn't want to live. He didn't know what his purpose was in life, and the journey of his progression as a father and his love for his little girl through that progression is a story that he wanted to tell, and is one that we put on paper and made a movie about. And when I found out about the movie and the role, I wanted to make some changes to it, of course, but I wanted to stay as close to his story as possible, and we all agreed on the changes. And I loved the story and the opportunity because I felt it was the best time to change the narrative attached to a Black man as a father, on the big screen. When we're portrayed on the big screen, we're always on drugs, off drugs, in jail, out of jail, not around, can't be found, or we show up last minute, and it's a story of why. And this is one that kind of has a positive message and through story, right? Where you root for this guy, you understand the guy, but the love between he and his child are what really give him reason and want to go on. So it's a drama. It's a real change for me. It's something that my audience is going to see, and once again have the opportunity to go, wow, it's me checking another box in my career and just trying to stay on that road of progression. So I'm excited for people to see it. It's going down.
The trailer tearjerker, just watching all of that, and it brings up so many things. Like, we've been talking a lot about maternal health care too, right? And women dying, during childbirth, after childbirth, and how dangerous that is, especially for Black women. That's something that we've been having all kinds of conversations about. And then, of course, like you said, just being a single father and raising your daughter. What kind of connection did you have with your on-screen daughter while you guys were filming?
It's insane because a lot of the emotional strings that I had to tug and pull from, I put myself as close to the position that Matt was in. And, I can only imagine. I can't imagine. But I tried to, put some type of picture in my head as to what it would be like if it were me and my little girl. And, a lot of those tear-jerking moments are because it's real. It was real for me in those scenes, and I really went there by thinking along those lines. And Melody, my co-star in this film, the little girl, she was so good, and our chemistry on camera and off, it just kept getting stronger and stronger because we spent a lot of time together. But that bond between a father and daughter, or just a child in general, when worked, it's unbreakable. It's a bond like no other, man. And I can say for me, I used a lot of my real life experiences as a parent to pull those emotions, to help me stay true to this storyline and make sure that I was in a grounded space of reality where people could believe and really relate. And our director, Paul Weiss, did a great job of making sure that I walked that line perfectly. And I can say confidently, this is my best performance on screen in my career. This is pound for pound the best work as an actor that I've done thus far in this movie.
Now, how do you balance being a dad and all the work that you do, right? Because when we're coming up, you wanna make as much money as possible to support your family, right? But then when you make money, it's never enough. But then you look at your kids and you're like, I have enough money to chill, but I still want to continue to make money. So how do you balance I'm a dad, and then I need to make all this money because I'm setting up a future for legacy? How do you balance that?
Man, I can only give information and not advice. And I say that because, when you give information, it means that you're putting things out there that people have a choice to either take or not take, right? Advice, I don't want to say things so that I feel like I'm telling you what to do to be me, or to do what I did, because that's what's going to work for you. Information is better, in my opinion. I think that all of those tears that you just talked about are ones that you have to experience ultimately to get to the point where you see what's really important, right? And as a guy that chases after success harder than anything, that chases after W's, multiple wins, that wants it in all aspects, when it comes to this thing of family, you get to a weird space where you start to understand that the time that you think you're giving to your family isn't as much time as you could be given. And you then go, you know what, I need to prioritize my family the same way that I prioritize my will and want for success. And it's a weird thing because you feel like, well, if I don't hustle and I'm not chasing after it, I can't get the money to take care of my family, which is true, which is why you need some success to make you see and understand what that is and what that feels like. But when it boils down to it, time can't be replaced and you can't get back. And as you get older, you realize that. And that time that you kind of miss with those kids, you can look back on it and go, damn, you know, I missed a lot, you know, even though I was around, I missed a lot. And you may mistake your, you know, your Thursday through Mondays as quality time, and those Monday through Thursday mornings when you gotta go hustle work. But on some of those weekends where the games, where the events, where the talent shows, where the, you know, so you get to a place of just understanding the time is what's most important. And that happiness that we're all searching for, it boils down to a place of the people that you're giving your time to and that you're giving that energy to. So I got to a place of understanding that that's what really matters. The money's great, the success is great, but you know, I was in that room in the hospital, that money and success wasn't there. You just got the people that kind of are with you and that matter in that box with you. So when it comes down to you being in that box, or when it comes down to anything happening that puts you in a position of a box, who are those people that you're going to share that with? Who are going to be there with? And that's where I prioritize my energy and effort now, like in making sure they know their worth, they know their value. So, you know, me on a movie set, them coming, you know, being here with me maximizing as much time as I can after a movie, shutting down for 3 weeks to a month, not doing nothing, being present, making my office hours stop. I'm out the office at 4:35 p.m. I'm home for dinner. My activities are on this day. The family gets this. You got to start to kind of just to give it the same energy. And that's what I'm getting better at. I'm not getting great, but that's what I'm getting better at. And I'm about to be 42, still figuring this shit out. It's a never ending puzzle game that you got to just learn how to play correctly. And it's the best for me as a father, as a husband, of figuring it out. Is new. There's no handbook that comes with it. There's no tutorial. There's no study guide. You got to figure it out as you go.
And it's always those, I was going to say, it's always those little moments too. Like even when I was watching parts of the movie, just like having your daughter just like touch your arm or say something sweet to you. Did you ever cry any real tears while you were filming because it touched you so much?
My daughter made me cry. My daughter was there. She was watching one take where I cried. And after the take, she just came and hugged me. There's no words. She just came and hugged me after the take and was like rubbing my back. And in that moment, that got me a little choked up because I'm like, you know, she really felt my emotion through the scene. Like she really saw her dad get emotional. And in that, I could tell like that was her way of showing her love and her care. Like as soon as they said cut, she was right there by my side, hugging me, almost to some degree, like, you know, that territorial, like this is my dad type thing.
My dad, right?
But, yeah, it's my dad.
Scene's over.
Yes, my dad. But you know, that one got me choked up. Just whenever they make the decision to put their love on display, it's a big deal. Especially my oldest. I got a teenager, 2 teenagers, and 2 babies. So the teenagers are now they're young adults. They're very vocal. They're expressive. And they let you know. So whenever they make the choice to give you some of that good energy from those words that can come out, it's never not taken with a high level of emotion for me.
Now, what lessons
did it make you reflect on your relationship with your own father too?
Yeah, I mean, you know, me and my dad, I've been vocal about it. Me and my dad's relationship it's fine. You know, are we the tightest? No. Was my childhood a damaging experience? No. To others, it may have been. But I understand that it is what it is. And my dad he had his bouts with life. He struggled, and he's better now because of it. So I don't fault my dad because of the past. I don't hold my dad's past over him. Like I'm grown. I'm a grown man, and as a grown man, I understand life. And in life, you got peaks, hills, valleys, and some of them peaks and hills are sharp. They're rough, and some can make it over him, some can't. He fought his as best he could. He made it over. He's on the better side of life, and I just focus on giving him good energy. It's not about repairing or trying to fix or overcome. It's about him being a grandpa and loving his grandbabies at this point.
Now, what lessons have you taught your kids that you found out the hard way? So, one thing I always think about was this about 2-3 years ago. I think you was a little drunk. I think I was too. And you pulled me to the side and you was like, Envy, sometimes what you saying is right, but the way you saying it ain't right.
Yeah.
Sit the fuck down, calm down, and say it again. I don't know if you remember that. You remember that?
Yes, drunk. I know exactly what you're talking about. Drunk. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was right, though. I was right. Yes. It's
what lesson,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, what lesson did you have to teach your kids that way? Something that you had to find out the hard way.
I mean, the biggest lessons that I've had to teach my kids is from when I stepped in shit. The numerous amount of times that I have. It's living within your moment of wrong. The same way that you can relish in a moment of right, you got to be okay with a moment of wrong. And it's not about how fast you get there, it's about getting there. So a big thing that we do in my household is solution. It's not about the problem, it's about the solution, right? Like when we see what the problem is, let's address the problem, but punching the problem over and over again is not helping find the solution. So how do we talk and have clear dialogue and communication about the solution? And what we find is that sometimes pride, ego, that's the biggest enemy in some cases, because that pride and that ego get in the way of what can easily become a solution. So I've just tried to teach my kids that, like me, you're not going to get it all right. You're going to get it wrong, and be okay with those moments when they happen, but just try your best to learn from them. And you may get it wrong again after that, but that's the beauty of this thing that we're in called life. Like at the end of the day, it's about, when it's all said and done, were you happy with the way you lived it?
Right.
That's what it's about. Were you happy with the way that you lived yours? Through all the ups and downs, will you sit in a chair and will you laugh when you're 85, 90, if you're lucky enough to get there? When you're 75, 78, will you go, man, oh man, boy, that was one hell of a ride? Or will you look back and will you go and regret the fact that you didn't? The fact that you had no experiences. I said, that's the beauty of this thing. It's to each his own, and your journey should be specific for you. So I'm not the hard dad. I'm not the dickhead as a dad. I'm not unreasonable. I'm not constantly down your throat with another lesson in a moment. It's you got to figure it out, because I'm not going to be there. And technically, if it's all said and done, well, I'm not mad at where mine's ended up. I'm not upset at where I've got to go and what I've been able to see. So, they need to understand that, and they need to work on their personal evolvement, but also make sure they understand that it's their journey. That's what I'm very specific about with my kids. It's not about becoming me or doing what you think I want you to do. It's about figuring out for yourself.
Now, Kevin, just to shift gears for a second, a big topic as of late, we saw Cat Williams and Cedric the Entertainer going back and forth about stealing jokes, right? And it's a fine line, because sometimes there's certain themes that are very common and you might feel like somebody took something of yours, but it could be just that they had a similar joke. Has that ever happened to you where you felt like, did this person steal my joke, or is it a coincidence?
You're in a pool where you got a million comedians, and I hate to say it, it's sad, but what material is that original today that you haven't heard in rendition of? We all are doing our best to make things our own, but it's the same topics for each of us, right? Are you a comedian that attacks political humor? Are you a family comic? Are you a raw and rugged comic that talks about the streets and where you from? Are you a race comic that talks about the different races and ethnicities? You know, are you a topical comic that reads the paper and goes through the topics that day? I mean, you have a couple of different lanes, and you know, through those lanes, what you do is you personally pick the lane best for you, and you make your own out of it. In the case where I've had things that have been similar and I've seen somebody do something, get a new one, you know, move on from it. It's not that serious. I've never made it that serious, and I never would. You know, it's too many of us. It's too many of us out there. And because of that, you know, you have to be understanding to sometimes it can be accidental. Sometimes it's not malicious. Now, if somebody's out there and they're doing what you said word for word, that's just a blatant level of stealing. But if it's the same topic sometimes and people have done it, I've never looked that deep into it. But that's another reason why I try my best not to watch comedy. I don't really watch a lot of comedy. I produce a lot. I make sure that I develop a lot, but I don't sit back and watch it because I don't want to be in the same space of another comedian's ideas or another comedian's thoughts. So I try to remove myself from that as best that I
You
can.
think you think the world is getting soft, and the reason I say that is I know you're a big basketball fan and you watch basketball now, and everybody gets a foul and they're thrown out the game. You know, if a comedian makes a joke, they want to cancel him. Cancel culture so fast. So do you think everybody's getting too sensitive and too soft?
It's a it's a strong. I mean, look, it's a conversation that can go either way. And do I understand the reason for uh some of the conversations that have been had and the changes that need to be made? Absolutely. Do I think that we all need to raise the bar on simply respecting and understanding one another, and understanding the lines that shouldn't be crossed, or that can be crossed? Absolutely. But do I also think that there's a world where we're losing the idea of what a joke is, or what the intent of a joke is done for, right? Like
Right.
it's not done with the intent and purpose to hurt. Is done with the intent to get a laugh. And the risk in doing that is sometimes you don't get a laugh. That's the risk. That's the biggest risk. The reward is getting a laugh. I think that it's up to our job now as talent to just understand the respect level that we're supposed to have for people in general, and trying to do our best and be an example of the change that we want to see within our world. I will say that flat out. Now, everything doesn't need to become a conversation. Everything doesn't need to become a war of opinions. I think people are just forgetting that it's very easy to just not support something. It's very easy to not be a fan. It's very easy to change the channel. It's very easy to not watch that movie. It's very easy to say that this person isn't for me. I think we forgot that. And the same way that, like, it's easy for you to make that decision, it's very easy for other people to make the decision of like. It's very easy. Some people like coffee, some people like tea. It's a choice. It doesn't matter. It's not that serious. And I think we're forgetting about the decision. We're forgetting that just because you don't like it, it doesn't mean that you have to voice or express your level of dislike in a way to where it now is destructive, in a way to where it's now offsetting to others that do like. That now creates this conflict that sometimes doesn't need to be had. So, I think eventually we'll get back to a place of just remembering who you're fans of and who you aren't. Right? It's very simple. I mean, I don't dislike country music, but I've never listened to it. It doesn't mean that I'm not a fan of it, but I can't tell you a song. I can't tell
Little
you.
Nas X.
I can't tell you his music. I know who he is. I know, the song that was a hit, but I'm saying it doesn't mean that I dislike it. It's just not for me.
Right,
I've made the choice to say that's not my cup of tea. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with making those choices. So it's like there's this big divide in everything today. There has to be a conflict of divide. It's me versus you. And if you don't like what I'm telling you you should like, then you stupid. And what I don't get it. If
You can respectfully disagree.
yeah, like you think he funny, you dumb. He the funniest. He not. It doesn't matter. It's a person to person choice.
I saw the Bill Maher situation where he weighed in on something that you said about white power and being at an all-time high. He took it very literally. And
he took it very literally. I meant what I said though. I wasn't wrong about what I said. It wasn't a thing. And if he felt that I was, that's fine for him. But what Bill Maher can't do, Bill Maher can't speak from a position of knowing what the Black community is going through still today. Like you can't speak from a position of never experiencing and never being a part of and acting as if you do and as if you have, right? Where, I mean, I looked at a video today with more cops beating a young guy's ass. They broke this kid's ribs, 8 of them holding him down, his name in the ribs. Yep. It's still happening. So to my point of what I was saying to Bill Maher, there is a high level of white privilege that we're still seeing on display. There's a high level and it's at an all-time high. In today, it is. In today, we're still experiencing it as if it's no consequence. To me, that still seems like the white privilege that we're speaking of. If we're saying, oh God, these senseless murders are happening. Oh my God, this Black man died. Oh my God, this Black man was killed. Oh my God, this Black woman was killed. And then you still continue to see it. It's almost as if, so what, there's no consequences. So that's what I'm speaking of. When you see the white women that are now confident with saying to Black people and Black women, you nigger, fuck you, go back, you Black. It's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. So that hatred, that confidence that I can do this and there is no consequence is what I was speaking on behalf of. Right. So for Bill Maher to act as if he's ignorant or blind to that, I felt was ridiculous. I didn't think that made sense, you know?
It kind of belittled it the way that he tried to take it so literally.
You kind of made my point. You made my point by speaking as a white man that is acting as if the things that are happening, slavery isn't the same. White people, we now let you drink from our water fountains. That's change, right? We're not sicking dogs on you or hosing you down. That's change. Well, I'm not saying it's still the 60s. I'm not saying that we still are going through the same thing, but I am saying that we're witnessing shit that we shouldn't be seeing in today's time. That's what I'm saying. Right. Bill, you know that.
Yeah.
You ever think he goes back and forth and says things to gaslight you to get this conversation, to get that?
I'm the wrong person to do it because I'm not gonna give it that much energy. This is just one of making sure people in general understand what just needs to be, what needs to be verbally said on a regular, right? And that's, if the goal in the world, this is very simple to me. If the goal in the world is about equality, right? That means we have to understand the unfair gap in between that's prohibiting the surge of equality that we're all looking for, right? Because we feel like there's a significant disadvantage. We're starting way from behind and we're not getting any help to close the gap. So because of that, we're frustrated, we're angry. Because of that, we feel like we're being suppressed still. That's a part of the problem. Help us close that gap. This is what minorities, Black and brown people, this is what we're talking about. About from the start, there was a significant advantage for the white culture. You started out way ahead. There's no reason why I'm still giving financial advice in Black communities about a checking and a savings account, because all we have is check cashing places and liquor stores. That's not a coincidence. We're set up to lose. We're not set up to win. So when you get older and you start to see this, you speak on it so that you can try to make other people more aware. That's all it is. So when you say things that show that you're still unaware by going back and making a reference like you did and taking what I said so literal and equating it to the days of, you know, of water fountains for blacks and hosing black people down and sicking dogs on them. Well, you're making my point.
Right.
You're making my point. But you know, it's one where I think we are seeing more corporations step up. We are seeing more corporations take responsibility in making sure that they have a diverse identity in-house. We're seeing more board changes where there's black personnel that's being involved. You know, in a lot of the place of business that I play in entertainment, I'm seeing much more color on sets, much more opportunity. We're seeing women progress. We're seeing change. Yes, we are. But is it anywhere near where it needs to be yet? No. It's not where it needs to be. Doesn't
And
mean
we have to make sure
there.
it's not just a temporary thing either for the time. We have
Exactly.
to make sure these are permanent things that continue to grow.
Exactly. And in no way is this a, you know, what another thing that I don't like the race war bait conversations, right? Like this isn't about the race war. This isn't about the fuck you. This is a, hey, know this, understand this. Make an attempt to understand at least where the frustration comes from and why it's still on high display. Because these things are still happening and reoccurring, and it's not a consequence attached to it quick enough. If you are acting as if you see or understand, then put some laws in place that protect young black men against these cops that are dying so fast. Put a law in place that a cop knows the consequence if he acts on the wrong side of. Put a law in place for the false claim of a crime that somebody says that somebody does. Put a law in place so that there's consequences on the other side. So there's an equal level of protection.
What do you tell your son, back to fatherhood, what do you tell your son now? He's a teenager, he's about to get his license, he's about to start driving, he's about to get on the road. And you know, what do you tell your son?
You know, the crazy thing is this is another thing that, you know, some act oblivious to, right? At the end of the day, I know the neighborhood that I live in, and seeing me drive through that neighborhood is okay because of who I am.
Right.
But they don't know my son. They don't know my daughter, right? So the attachment to my child in whatever vehicle is not the same as if it's me. And those conversations with cops are different. They are. They are different. I don't care what you say. It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same in any way, shape, or form. The questions, the assumption of what are you doing here? Why are you here? What are you doing up here? Those questions are real. So when you act as if they aren't, and when you act as if it's not a true matter that really needs to be not just handled, not just addressed, but changed for the comfort and safety of people and their loved ones and their kids. Like that's a real thing. The gamble of, all right, man, my baby driving this car at night, they go on the said thing. Please, God, don't let nobody stop them at night and think it's a situation where, you know, they go to ask for papers and registration and my kid's the one that reaches and it becomes, why are we thinking like that? Why is that the immediate thought? And is that even a thought for the other side? It's not.
No, not at all.
It's not. And that's the problem. That's what we're saying is a problem. That's what we're saying is an issue. And that's the frustrating thing that I think the high volume aren't truly allowing. You're not letting it register. You're not letting the discomfort register through the real actions that we're seeing on display. And yes, the internet can take it and blow things up. And you know, we see a lot more than maybe we would have ever seen. But I swear to God, it is a consistency behind the same narrative. And that's a problem. That's what I was speaking on. Nothing more.
Kevin, are there ever, oh, go ahead.
During the pandemic, I seen you picked up bike riding.
Yeah.
Now, what got you on the bike? And when are you coming to New Jersey to do some real riding up the real hills, not the flat lands that y'all do in LA?
No, we got canyons. We got
Yeah,
some canyons. We got some real
We got
canyons out there. We got real canyons out there.
Schaefer and Fred told me you wasn't like a hilly hill guy. That's
No,
what I'm asking.
Schaefer right now Schaefer honestly was in a space where I wasn't fucking with Schaefer. I said, Schaefer, I'm gonna leave you alone until I'm ready. But I can go do a comfortable, I can put up anywhere between the 27 and 30, 32, 34 with some hills and stuff in it. Now, if you guys got a crazy cadence and y'all got a different rhythm to you, like I'm gonna have a conversation. I got no problem with saying, text me the trail. so I know I got the pack. I got everything I need. I got my kit. I got my repair kit. So if I'm out with some people that need to go, you go. But what I like the calm that's attached to it. Like I'm looking for the hobbies that act as meditation. You know what I mean? Like the same thing that running was for me. Running is you, yourself, and just a calm. That bike is the same thing. You get out there with a nice group, everybody ride. That when the trail you go on, the road you go on, if you're out there at the right time, it feels like it's just you. You get to be in your own space, man. And I like shutting off. And that's what the road.
Do you have the gel shorts? You have those gel shorts?
I go the whole 9. I'm out there.
They make fun of me all the time. I'm like, you need the gel shorts or your ass gonna hurt.
I'm out there. I'm out there in the whole 9. Leotard, framed up. That's right. Giving you what you wanted in light. I'm confident about it. I'm good.
So when you guys get off the bike, are you walking funny?
No, man, it's a thing. If you're part of this lifestyle, it's a thing. There's no shame. You're good. Like it's good. You can't even let the straps down on a leotard after a ride and feel good about it. Throw your flip flops on. As if you clicking in. I'm also clicking in. I'm the real deal.
I seen you fall. I
definitely did. In the beginning, it was tough. It was tough. I was in that driveway. Oh man.
Well, Fatherhood is out this weekend. Make sure you go check it out. And we appreciate you checking in. Be safe, man. And send the family our love and all that, man.
Yeah,
Always.
Kevin, we do always appreciate you checking in with the Breakfast Club. It does mean a lot to us because, you are going to be a billionaire by the time you're 45. Hopefully you'll still be checking in at that time.
Listen, I'm never going to change. I'm not going anywhere regardless of the success. I love you guys. You guys have been riding with me forever, which is why I'm going to do the same in return. And to all the listeners or the watchers, please, guys, Friday, the 18th is going down, Fatherhood. I promise you, this movie does not disappoint. I promise. You're going to walk away with an amazing message, with an amazing amount of feel good at the end of the day. And lastly, I really do mean it when I say live, love, and laugh. We don't have that much time, man. Wasting our time on this goddamn earth and doing it in a negative space, it does none of us any good. So try your best to adapt that good energy, man. That positive energy is the best flow, point blank.
Fatherhood, just in time for Father's Day.
That's right.
Appreciate
Kevin
you.
Hart, The Breakfast Club. Good morning.